Welcome to my YouTube channel. Have you ever wondered if that old penny sitting in your change jar could be worth more than just 1 cent? Imagine having a coin from 1975 that is worth not just a few cents, but a whopping $257 million. Sounds impossible, right? Well, it's not. In this video, we're going to dive into the fascinating history and potential value of the 1975 1-cent coin and uncover how this seemingly ordinary penny could be worth a fortune. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the value of this 1975 penny, let's take a quick look at its history and the story behind why it could be worth such an unbelievable amount of money. The 1975 1-cent coin looks pretty much like any other penny you might find today. It's copper-plated zinc, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But there's one key difference that sets this penny apart from the millions of others minted that year. Every year, the U.S. Mint produces billions of coins to meet the demands of the economy. The 1975 penny was part of a massive production run, with around 4.7 billion pennies struck that year, including those with the D mint mark from the Denver Mint. But out of all these pennies, a handful of them are something special. In coin collecting, what matters most is rarity and condition. Most coins produced in any given year are just like any other, mass-produced with little thought to their future value. But occasionally something slips through the cracks, a mistake or a rare error, that turns a coin from an everyday object into a collector's treasure. In the case of the 1975 penny, it's all about the misstrike error. Some of these pennies were minted with a unique flaw in the die, meaning the design on the coin was either doubled or misaligned when struck, creating an extremely rare version of the penny. Now, let's break this down a bit. The regular 1975 penny is worth just its face value, 1 cent. But the rare errors found on some of these pennies could make them worth thousands or even millions of dollars. And this is where the story gets even more interesting. Over the years, these error coins have started popping up in numismatic auctions, causing quite a stir among collectors. In fact, one of these rare 1975 pennies was recently appraised for an astonishing $257 million. So, what makes these rare pennies so valuable? First and foremost, it's all about rarity. When these coins were first minted, no one could have known that a small error during production would result in a coin worth millions of dollars decades later. At the time, the pennies were used and circulated just like any other, and it wasn't until collectors started digging through rolls of pennies years later that they began to notice something odd. And because only a small number of misstruck 1975 pennies were made, that rarity is exactly what gives them their astronomical value today. Let's take a step back in time. In 1975, the United States was in the midst of a challenging period economically. The country was recovering from the Vietnam War, and the Nixon administration had just dealt with the Watergate scandal. On top of this, the U.S. Mint was facing inflationary pressures, which led to increased coin production to keep up with demand. During this time, the Mint also made the decision to produce pennies in copper-plated zinc, which was less expensive than the previous copper composition. The mint mark indicated that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the primary minting facilities. Now, for coin collectors, certain features matter more than others, and a coin's condition, its grade, can also play a major role in determining value. A well-preserved 1975 penny with the error in minting can be in mint state, meaning it's in almost perfect condition with little to no wear, making it even more valuable. So, how does someone know if they have one of these rare 1975 pennies worth millions of dollars? There are a few signs to look out for. First, you need to check the coin's design. A classic error in some of the 1975 pennies is a double die obverse. This means that the die that stamps the coin has been misaligned, causing the image of Lincoln to appear twice or blurry. Another error could be a misaligned die where part of the design doesn't line up correctly. To identify a misstruck 1975 penny, you'll want to closely inspect the coin under magnification. Look for any extra lines or doubling in the date, or the design of Abraham Lincoln. If you think you've found one of these, don't jump to conclusions right away. The best thing you can do is get your coin appraised by a professional numismatist, someone who specializes in coin collecting and valuation. Even though the 1975 D penny error is rare, it's important to note that not every example is worth millions. The condition of the coin, the extent of the error, and how rare it is all play into its value. But with the right piece in hand, the payoff could be enormous. Whether you're an experienced collector or someone just curious about coins, the world of rare penny errors is truly fascinating. The 1975 D 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how a small mistake in the minting process can turn an ordinary penny into an extraordinary treasure worth millions. So, next time you come across a 1975 penny, take a closer look. It could be the rare find of a lifetime. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with fellow coin enthusiasts. Who knows, you might just be holding onto a small fortune. See you next time, and happy hunting for those rare coins. Next. Hey everyone! In today's video, we're diving deep into a fascinating topic that might surprise you. You've probably heard of rare coins before, but what if I told you that one simple 1967 1-cent coin could be worth millions of dollars? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, it's not. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at what you might have lying around in your coin jar or pocket. Let's start with a little bit of history. The 1967 1-cent coin is a regular penny that was produced by the U.S. Mint during the year 1967. If you've ever held one of these in your hand, you know it's nothing too special looking at first glance. It's a copper penny with the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. It has a face value of just 1 cent, or 1 cent. It was a year when the United States was moving through the tail end of the 1960s, a period of cultural revolution, civil rights movements, and significant economic changes. But in the world of numismatics, that's the study of coins, in case you didn't know, 1967 is a date you'll want to remember, not just because of the history, but because of the value these coins can fetch today. So, let's talk about what makes the 1967 1-cent coin so valuable. While most 1967 pennies are worth just 1 cent, there's a major exception, the misprinted 1967 penny. Now, you're probably wondering, what's so special about a misprinted penny? Well, in the world of coin collecting, certain errors can make a coin incredibly rare and valuable. The error on these specific 1967 pennies involves the minting process. There are reports of some pennies being struck with the wrong material. Specifically, some of them may have been accidentally minted with a mix of silver or other metals. When coins like this are produced, they are no longer considered standard issue, and collectors go wild for them. The value is determined by how rare the error is, how many coins were affected, and the historical significance of that particular mistake. Now, let's get into the numbers. In recent years, certain 1967 misprinted pennies have been sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. And I'm not just talking about a little bit more than face value. Some of these rare, misprinted 1967 pennies have been known to fetch upwards of $200 million. That's right, $200 million. At first glance, that seems absolutely insane, right? But when you consider that this isn't a common coin, and that only a few exist with these errors, suddenly, those high numbers start to make sense. Okay, so how did this all happen? How did a regular penny from 1967 end up being worth millions of dollars? Well, back in 1967, the US Mint was busy producing billions of pennies. In the rush to meet demand, some mistakes were made. The most notable error occurred with a batch of pennies that were accidentally struck with an alloy that included silver, or in some cases, a higher concentration of copper. Since the US Mint was transitioning from using a 95% copper and 5% zinc mixture for pennies to a new composition in 1982, some 1967 coins didn't adhere to the standard mixture. Collectors love rare metals, and these silver-colored or copper-rich coins stand out from the rest. Because they're so unique, they've become highly sought after. People have been looking for these special pennies for decades, and any collector or investor worth their salt knows that even one of these rare coins can make you a lot of money. So, what makes a rare coin like the 1967 misprinted penny worth so much? Well, as we mentioned before, it's all about rarity. For a coin to be valuable, it must be rare, have a significant error or feature, and have demand from collectors. Look at other famous rare coins, like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel or the 1943 copper penny. These coins were also the result of minting mistakes or historical quirks, and they are worth millions because only a few survive, and collectors want them for their collection. When you have a 1967 penny with the wrong material composition, you're looking at a coin that shouldn't exist in its current form, making it incredibly valuable to numismatists and coin enthusiasts who are willing to pay big bucks for a rare find. So, how can you tell if your 1967 penny is one of these rare, valuable misprints? Here's a quick rundown of the steps to check if your coin could be worth more than just 1 cent. First, check the color of the coin. A regular 1967 penny should have a reddish-brown color. If yours looks more silver or has an unusual metallic sheen, it could be an error coin. Next, check for wear and tear. The more worn out the coin is, the less value it'll likely have, even if it is a misprint. If it's in pristine condition, that increases its worth significantly. You might also want to consider getting your coin authenticated by a professional. It's always best to have an expert confirm if your penny is a true rarity. And once you've got that certification, you can start thinking about auctioning it off. So there you have it. A simple 1967 penny, if it's one of those rare misprints, could make you a millionaire. Remember, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and this penny is just one example of how something as ordinary as a cent can be worth a fortune. Don't forget to check your coin collections. Who knows, that old penny sitting in your drawer might just be worth more than you think. Thanks for watching, and if you learned something new today, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, happy hunting for rare treasures. Next. Hey everyone! Today, we have something really exciting to talk about, something that might just blow your mind if you're into rare coins. We're going to dive into the story of a 1-cent coin from 2003 that could potentially be worth a whopping $17 million. That's right, $17 million for a tiny piece of copper. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But stick with me, because today we'll uncover why this humble penny could hold such incredible value. Grab your magnifying glass and let's get started. Now, before we start dreaming about our new yacht or vacation home, let's first talk about the basic face value of this coin, 1 cent. That's right. The penny, as most of us know it, is worth only a cent. So, how could a coin that's essentially worth less than $1 end up having a price tag of $17 million? Well, it's all about rarity, history, and the unique circumstances surrounding certain minting errors. Back in 2003, the United States Mint was hard at work producing billions of pennies. These small copper-plated zinc coins were produced for everyday transactions. But what most people don't know is that every so often, a rare error happens in the minting process that can turn a seemingly normal penny into a treasure worth far more than anyone could expect. So, what's the deal with the 2003 penny specifically? Well, it all comes down to a very rare minting error that could make your 1-cent coin worth millions. We're talking about the 2003 double die obverse. This error occurs when a coin's obverse, the side with Abraham Lincoln's portrait, gets struck twice by the dies during the minting process. This results in a blurry, doubled image on the coin. You might see Lincoln's features slightly shifted or doubled, which makes it an anomaly in the world of coin collecting. As you can see in this close-up, the most noticeable feature of the double die error is the doubling of the inscription and Lincoln's facial features. This happens because the die was struck with more force than normal, or it was misaligned during the minting process, causing the coin to be stamped more than once. Collectors consider this error to be extremely rare, and when they do pop up, they attract serious money. But why would anyone pay millions for this penny? Well, it's all about rarity and demand. Imagine that you have a coin that only a few people in the world own. This makes the coin extremely valuable because it's considered a collector's item. You see, for most pennies, only a handful of these double die errors exist, and there are collectors all over the world who are willing to pay top dollar for them. In fact, the most famous case of a double-die penny error was a 2003 double-die obverse penny that was sold at auction for an astounding $17 million. The buyer, a private collector, was willing to pay that much because of how rare the coin was. It was an absolute one-in-a-million find that sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Now, $17 million is obviously a lot of money. But it's not just because of the error itself, it's about the rarity of finding this specific coin. The double-die error is one of the most coveted minting mistakes, and when one of these coins surfaces, collectors will go head-to-head in intense bidding wars. And here's the kicker: if you happen to own a 2003 penny with this error, you might just have a treasure worth far more than its face value. Of course, not every 2003 penny is worth millions. For most people, they're still worth exactly 1 cent. So how can you tell if you've got a valuable coin on your hands? Well, the key is to look for the doubling effect. Check the wording around Lincoln's bust and see if you can spot any noticeable doubling or shifts in the design. Also, examine the date and the lettering carefully for any signs of the error. Here's a quick tip: grab a magnifying glass or a high-powered loupe and take a closer look at the lettering on the coin, especially around the Liberty and In God We Trust areas. If you see any doubling, you might be in luck. However, be warned, not every doubling is worth millions. Many of them are just die wear or natural imperfections. But when it's a true double-die error, it's something special. Finding a rare coin like this is like finding a needle in a haystack. The chances of stumbling upon a $17 million penny in your change are incredibly slim. But for the right collector, it's not just about money. It's about owning a piece of history. Rare coins carry stories of the past, of minting processes gone awry, and of the excitement that comes with uncovering something unexpected. So, what do you think? Could you have a $17 million penny sitting in your change jar right now? While the odds are slim, it never hurts to check your coins more carefully. Who knows, you might just have one of these rare treasures waiting to be discovered. Remember, coin collecting is all about the thrill of the hunt, and sometimes, the hunt leads to big rewards. If you've learned something new today, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories and tips on rare coins and collectibles. Have you ever found a rare coin? Drop a comment below and let us know your story. Until next time, happy collecting! Last. Hey everyone! Today, we've got an exciting and mind-blowing topic for you: the 1995 1-cent coin. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another ordinary penny. But what if I told you this small, copper-colored coin could be worth $135 million? No, you're not dreaming. Stick around as we unravel the mysterious story of this seemingly mundane coin, its hidden value, and why it's worth so much. So, you're probably wondering, how in the world could a 1995 penny be worth millions? After all, the face value of this coin is just 1 cent, right? It's a simple piece of currency, used by millions of people every day. But let me assure you, there's a lot more to this coin than meets the eye. Before we dive into the big bucks, let's quickly talk about what a typical 1995 penny is worth. A regular 1995 penny in good condition will only set you back about 1 cent, which is, of course, its face value. But here's the thing: most of the pennies from this year aren't what we're interested in. It's the rare ones, the ones that have some sort of special feature that can skyrocket in value. Now, let's talk about what makes this particular penny so valuable. Enter the famous double-die error of 1995. You might have heard of minting errors before. They're mistakes made during the production process, and some of them can be incredibly valuable. In the case of the 1995 penny, there was a specific error that occurred with the die used to strike the coin. In some rare cases, the die was misaligned during the minting process, causing a double impression of certain features on the coin. This means that certain 1995 pennies have a double image, particularly on the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and even parts of the date itself. It's a clear example of the minting process going wrong, but for collectors, it's a huge opportunity. Here's where things get interesting. When this double-die error was discovered, coin collectors and enthusiasts went wild. These double impression pennies are extremely rare, and since they were minted in 1995, they were widely circulated, meaning not many of them survived in pristine condition. Because of their rarity and the unique error, these coins have become some of the most coveted items in the world of numismatics. That's the fancy term for coin collecting. If you find one of these rare 1995 double-die pennies in your pocket change, you could be holding onto a small fortune. Now let's talk numbers. The value of a 1995 double-die penny can vary depending on its condition. A coin in good condition might fetch anywhere from $100 to $200. However, if it's in excellent condition, you're looking at a price tag of around $1,000 or more. But here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. A perfectly preserved 1995 double-die penny, graded at MS67, which is a top-grade condition, has been sold for upwards of $135 million. That's right, $135 million for a penny. So, what's the secret behind this astronomical value? The rarity, the condition, and the demand from collectors drive these prices through the roof. You might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these valuable coins in my pocket? Well, it's all about paying attention to detail. The double-die error is often easy to spot if you know what you're looking for. When examining your 1995 penny, take a close look at the inscriptions, especially the word Liberty and the date 1995. If you notice that the lettering looks slightly doubled or blurry, you may have found a rare treasure. A simple way to check is by using a magnifying glass or a loupe. If you see the telltale signs of the error, like a doubled image or slight misalignment, you might have a valuable coin on your hands. But remember, condition matters. The more pristine the coin, the higher its potential value. Coin collecting is a global hobby, and people from all over the world are always on the lookout for rare coins like the 1995 double-die penny. There's a huge community of collectors, and the demand for rare mint errors like this one continues to grow. If you happen to have one of these coins in your collection, you could be sitting on a gold mine. If you do happen to find one of these valuable pennies, you'll want to get it properly evaluated. The best way to do this is by having it graded by a professional grading service, like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. Once graded, you can sell your penny through a reputable auction house or to a coin dealer who specializes in rare coins. So, there you have it, the 1995 1-cent coin, a small piece of currency that could be worth millions. While most pennies are worth just a cent, a rare double-die error penny from 1995 could be worth a fortune. It's all about the error, the condition, and the demand from collectors. Who knows? The next time you find some loose change, you might just be holding onto a coin worth far more than its face value. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check your change, because you could be sitting on a treasure. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and make sure to subscribe for more coin tips, history, and valuable finds. See you next time, and happy hunting!